Okay, this is for section 2.4 on writing linear equations, and I'm pretty sure most of this will be some review from your Algebra 1. First, writing, they're giving you a clue, linear equations, so equations of lines. One equation in this form, y equals mx plus b. Do you remember what they called that? Slope-intercept. Okay, slope-intercept form. Okay, slope-intercept form of a line. And remember the m is the slope, and the b is the y-intercept. That's where it crosses the y-axis. And you had point slope form of a line, y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus that quantity, x minus x sub 1. And that was called point slope form of a line. Yeah, y minus y sub 1. Yeah, write it as a subscript. Equals m times the quantity x minus x sub 1. And that one, the point is your x sub 1, y sub 1, and your slope equals the m. Okay, and when they say to graph a line, there's two things you need. Two things you need to find an equation of a line. Then you can graph it. Two things you need to find an equation of a line. Okay, you need a point and a slope. And then you can always go to point slope form of a line. Okay. Just, what did I say? Oh, two things you need to find an equation. Two things you need to find an equation of a line. A point and a slope. That sounds better. Thanks. Thanks. Yeah. Okay. So if they say find an equation of a line, if you see that, find an equation of a line. Then basically you got to figure out what's the slope and what's a point on that line, and then you can go to point slope form of a line. We also had the other day, we had standard form of a line, ax plus by equals c. That one was called standard form. Of a line. And remember, in that form, a, b, and c cannot be fractions. Okay, there's no fractions. A has to be positive. A's got to be greater than or equal to 0, and no common factors other than 1. I think some of you learned that. That was in the notes, but you didn't do it on the homework. You can't have a factor in common other than 1. Okay. Now, just because they ask for it in standard form, like if they say they find an equation of a line in standard form, that does not mean that's what you start in. You might start in point slope form of a line, but they want you to end up in this standard form of a line. Okay, so let's look at examples. Say they ask you to find the equation of the line in slope, intercept form. Okay, so that's they want the final answer in y equals mx plus b form. Okay, if it goes through the ordered pair 2, -3, and the ordered pair -3, 7. Okay. So, if they say find an equation of a line, you need a point, and we've got plenty of them, and you need a slope. So you got to figure the slope of this. You can do it by graphing it. You could also do it by the formula y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Label, I'm going to label this one x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2, and then fill in. You'd have 7 minus -3, check my arithmetic, and -3 minus 2. Right, minus a negative, be plus. So I get 10 over -5 would be -2 for the slope. And we've got plenty of points, so I'm going to use the first one because the formula has y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. So now just fill into that. We'd have y. My y sub 1 is -3. My slope is -2. My x sub 1 is 2. You agree with that? So y minus a -3 would be y plus 3. And then multiply this out, would be -2x plus 4. Now, that's an equation of the line, but we're still not in the right form. They want it in slope-intercept form. So, subtract 3. So y equals a -2x plus 1. Okay? Now, if you were going to check that, okay, you could graph that. Let's check it. You could check it by graphing. If you just ask, they just ask you to graph that. I would graph the b value first. That tells you it crosses up at 1. The slope is -2 over 1, so you go down 2 and to the right 1. You could go down 2 to the right 1. Okay, so we got a line that looks like that. And remember, anything that has a negative slope is going to tilt in that direction.